In our first story, we put the spotlight on rehabilitating prisoners. As it emerges, rejection by the society is the cause of high recidivism rate in the prison. There are almost 15,000 prisoners in all the 43 prison installations in Ghana. Some of these prisoners are 400% congested, meaning some inmates must squat for almost 15 hours during lights out. You think that in such appalling conditions, any chance at freedom will be grabbed by two hands. Well, think again. It has emerged that some of these inmates do not want to go home even when they are discharged. Some go as far as ensuring they are rearrested and imprisoned just a few hours after their release. The reason, according to officials at the Amamfrom prisons camp in the Ashanti region, is that such inmates feel unwelcomed by relatives and friends. Chaplain of that prison, ASP Osei Kufuor, says the situation poses a challenge to efforts by the service to reintegrate ex-convicts into society. Ohmed Teria is our colleague with Inshira FM. We spoke to him earlier and he joins us on phone now with details of that conversation with the chaplain of that particular prison. Ohime, good morning. First of all, how common is this problem of prisoners who do not want to go home?
Yes, the situation is very common and very rampant, especially in the Ashanti region and the Amamfrom prison camp, where ASP Kufuor spoke to me, and he indicated that earlier he was in charge of prisoners' welfare, and these sentiments are the issues that the prisoners brought to him or got to his attention after some of them, showed signs of reluctance to go home and meet their respective families. So in the course of interviews and meetings with the inmates, that is where prison authorities got to know that some of these chunk of the prison, the inmates, were not welcomed home. So that is why he echoed the sentiments of the prison authorities.
And Ohime, prisons have four major purposes: retribution, recapacitation, if you like, deterrence, and rehabilitation. How are they trying to reintegrate them, if you like?
Yes, the reintegration part of the responsibilities, more demanding of the prisons authorities is where the issue is, because according to him, the authorities over the years have tried as much as possible to rehabilitate the inmates or the ex-convicts and also reintegrate them back to society. And he says that, yes, they have been, using the jail terms and also advice to help transform the inmates from the status of which got them to the prisons. But to know that society at long last will not want to accept back one of their own into their fold because of one of two wrongdoings. And that is where the issue of reintegrating the ex-convicts back to society becomes an issue. And he thinks that with that particular incident, it makes that efforts of the prison authorities very, very, very difficult because for them, they know they are doing their part, and government too is also supporting the inmates with their monthly conventions, and to get to know that society frowns on ex-convicts and will not accept them back to their posts. That is where they have problem. And even he says that at some instances, prison authorities have to intervene to ensure that these ex-convicts go back to society. And beyond this, they are also trying to introduce the inmates to vocational skills so that when they go back from the prisons to back to their homes, they will be able to have a skill to work with. So that is what they have been doing. But unfortunately, that one too has also been met with resistance because as we speak now, a vocational complex that is supposed to serve this purpose at the Amamfrom prison camp is not yet completed. So he also appealed to the general public to come to the aid of the prison authorities to help put up complete this complex.
Tell us about how the rearrest is done. That's a bit fascinating to a lot of people.
How they do what? Can you come again?
How prisoners, ex-prisoners want to be rearrested just so they can go back to the home that they are comfortable with, if you like.
Yes, they are not rearrested, but what prison authorities do is to try as much as possible to help these ex-convicts go back to their families. Because don't forget, the prisons are already choked and congested. So accepting or maintaining those who have finished with their jail terms will also be additional responsibility or additional headache. So what they have been doing over the years is to counsel the inmates and to some extent meet their respective families. And that is what they have been doing to ensure that all the people who have issues with their families going back home are resolved and they are accepted back in society. But in that normal circumstance, this, according to him, shouldn't have happened. Once somebody completes his jail term, the most important thing for the person to do is to leave the confines of the prison. But unfortunately, that has not been happening.
So, essentially what I'm asking is, they are most comfortable back in the prisons because of the fact that they are not received when they go back home, correct?
Yes.
How many of such stories do we have in this particular prison, for instance?
Yes, he tells me there are several stories of this nature. Many of the stories are there, and he being the person in charge of their welfare and now the chaplain of the prison, that is where he got to know that indeed many of the ex-convicts who have completed their jail term have difficulties in going back to their respective homes. And that is where the prison authorities intervene. In some instances, the interventions yielded results. That is when the inmates go back to society. So no matter how difficult it is, definitely the inmates will go back to their respective homes. But then prison authorities have to intervene.
Terria, we will leave it right there. Thanks a lot for your time. Now, what is lacking in Ghana's prisons is the rehabilitation part, and lack of funds and resources have been identified as cause. The Prison Service Council last year introduced Project Efiase, a move to raise funds to support the needs of the prisons. Chairman of the Prison Council, Reverend Steve Wengam, is here with us for a conversation on this and this developing issue about ex-convicts not wanting to go back home. Rev, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mama. Good to see you.
It's good to see you too. I hope you're well.
Grace is keeping us.
We thank God. Yeah. How do you receive this news of ex-convicts who are not willing to go back home because they find the prisons home enough?
Well, I've been aware about this for a while now, and it's obvious. I mean, even though conditions they are deplorable, inhuman. For example, we feed them on less than $1, 1 Ghana cedi, 80 pesos for breakfast, lunch, and supper. Infrastructure is inadequate. We're unable to classify them, all that. But for many of them, it is still home for them. I mean, what is a home? A home is a place where you feel loved, where you are accepted. And therefore, if they are discharged and they come into the community, some of them have lost touch with their families. Some, their families are not prepared to receive them because of stigmatization. Some don't trust that they've been reformed. Obviously, they'll remember the prisons where they had friends who love them the way they are. In the night, they are in the cells, chatting, cracking jokes. At least they have something to eat to keep body and soul together. And that is why the Prison Council has been very proactive to have launched Project Efiase. And Mama, for the past 2 weeks, we've visited about 7 embassies. We've been to the Japan embassy, Malaysia, we've been to Russia, we've been to Cuba, Brazil, seeking international support, because in there we have some foreigners. And the reason being that local resources alone may not be enough. And I'm glad that these countries have pledged support and they've asked us to meet with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Finance so that they can capture prisons in their various requests for those international transactions. And I'm very hopeful that with that, we can be able to push Efiase, to achieve its purposes.
Any particular reason you focused on these 4 embassies? Is it because we have people from their countries in our prisons?
Not really. In fact, anytime I go to the embassies, I tell them that you don't need to have your citizens in our prisons before you support Project Efiase. Because don't forget that Ghana Prison Service contributes to public safety. Now, one worrying trending event, Mama B, is that we just pick an intelligence report that some of these terrorist groups are infiltrating into the prisons and they are radicalizing these inmates to use them for terrorist attacks. Because, you know, for the prisoner, he has nothing to lose when they come out. They promise them heaven. Now, if that
how
is
do they get into the prisons,
I mean, they have a very strong network. You understand? And if that happens, we are not safe. Because keep them there 100 years, they'll come out anyway, and they'll pose a security threat. Ghana, arguably, is the most peaceful country in the sub-region. But look at what happened to the former MP of Ivoakwa North. If an MP could be murdered, and this is an ex-convict, because we couldn't reform him and rehabilitate him, give him skills training, look at what happened. And that is what we get a fiancé. If we have the resources, we can extend to even the ex-convicts, build some camp homes so that when they are released, they can spend, let's say, 3 months or 6 months there for further rehabilitation, give them startup capital, you know, and then reach out to their families, counsel them, and get them to accept, you know, these ex-convicts, because whether we like it or not, they are part of us, and they must be given a second chance.
Let's go back to the core responsibilities of the prisons, if you like. If you go there as a prisoner, how should you come out?
Well, you should come out reformed, rehabilitated, come out a better person, but it goes with resources. For example, this year, our budget allocation is not even enough for the food rationing for the prisoners. So we're already operating on negative, you understand? And that is why we are pushing for the fiancé. And I'm using this platform to appeal to the corporate bodies, the embassies, the religious bodies. Please come on board and help this worthy cause so that you can sleep with your 2 eyes closed.
Is it because you perhaps don't make a better case and push for your budgets? That's why you keep getting always. You seem to be getting cuts in your budgets.
We do, but you see, if you look at the other security agencies, their roles seem to be very visible and prominent. The army, I mean, every government fears the army because they can be used, you know, in the past. Who are those who do the coup? It's the army. The police, they are on the streets, they're maintaining public safety. Prisons, it's when they're incarcerated, keep them there. So very little has been done for us over the year. That is why
the prisons and the officers have also become prisoners, if you like.
Yes, by extension, I say that. They spend 8 hours in the deplorable conditions. They pick this communicable disease from the inmates, pass it on to their family members, and then to the wider society. That is why, as part of Brigade Fiancé, it's also an education campaign. And that's why, having visited the president, all the 3 organs of government, the embassies, people are beginning to change their attitude. And that is why, about 2 months ago, government gave us 77 vehicles, which has never happened before. I mean, other agencies,
your budgetary allocation is still not enough.
Perfect. Well, we have put up a very strong case, and Ministry of Finance have been directed to look into it. Of course, we all know that the economy is challenged. You know, well, that is what we are told. But we've been promised that as the months roll by, they will see what can be done for us. But we don't want to depend on government alone. In the past, it's been so, and we've gone nowhere. And that's what we are saying, that Ghanaians must see that the prisons will contribute to public safety. Until they see it that way, you know, this kind of attitude will be there where they don't care about the prisoners, and then when they come out, they will pose a security threat to all of us.
Now, we know that you have enough labor in the prisons, all the prisons in Ghana. Certainly, you could do something for yourselves.
Yes, that is why I paid a courtesy call on the Minister for Local Government. We put in a strong case for this National Sanitation Program. If the local assemblies can give us contracts, we put a strong case across to government. They should give us contracts. Like the Colorado State Prison, I visited with a team of prison officers in January. Their industries make $65 million every year because the state have a statute that car number plates are printed by the prisons, and books used by public schools are printed by the prisons. So if Ghana can think along that line, then you'll be deliberately committing resources to the prisons. Then we can be able to contribute to public safety.
So for now, what happens to these ex-convicts who do not want to go back home?
Well, for now, they have to go. You have to push them out. And the only way out for them is to go and reoffend. And then they are brought back. That's what happens. You understand? And reoffending, who knows? I mean, Per the interview granted by this guy who murdered the former MP, he said he didn't go there to kill, he went there to steal. And in the process, he murdered the man. So if we don't set up and improve conditions there and change the attitude with the prisoners, the guy coming out because he's not accepted and wants to reoffend, you know, it might cost you, the one watching me now, your life, your investment. So it is a security threat. And I pray that Ghanaians will look at it that way and contribute towards Project Efiase. Walk to any of the banks, Royal Bank, Eco Bank, Unibank, and say, Prisons Reform Trust, you want to contribute or adopt a prison facility and decide that we'll go and equip the carpentry shop. Maybe this company can say, want to adopt this facility, we want to do, extend, maybe expand infrastructure over there. And then you'll be helping us, you'll be helping us realize the aspirations of our 10-year plan, which we want to use to change the face of Ghana.
So in the meantime,
prisons.
what's the council doing about it? Because this is a very important issue.
That is why we are going to the embassies. That is why every day. Yesterday I was with the Brazilian ambassador. I'm not resting.
So are you saying that without the funds, immediately there's nothing we can do?
Yes, it's the funds. Now, what we can do is what you're helping us to do. Web Multimedia is giving us the platform, and we are using this program to educate Ghanaians to change that. So the ones we need money to do, we need money.
Does it mean that the government doesn't see the importance of these new developments?
I would say that having visited the three arms of government and having painted the picture to them, it's amazing. Government has set up now. And that is
but
why,
we're not
for
seeing
example,
the setting
it will take
up.
a while because we've been abandoned for many years. As I speak now, government has released 50 million Ghana cedis for us to build a remand block at Nsawam prisons following the visit of the president.
Is this a promise or you've seen the actual release?
They've released the money. Contractors are moving to site to get it started immediately. You understand? Since we've been abandoned for many years, whatever you give us now is like a drop in the ocean. But that's where, as more keeps coming and others come on board to commit resources, very soon, give us the next 3 to 4 years. If every Ghanaian will come on board, the embassies, the corporate bodies, religious bodies will come on board. I think that we can achieve this thing in less than 10 years. I mean it.
We'll come back to what you've been able to achieve since the launch of this. But if I was released from Nsawam and I came out of the gates, what will be there for me? What could the council do for me?
Now, not much. What we can do is what we are doing now, educating the public.
But I am standing there, right, at the gates. I've just been released. I don't have any family to go to.
Are not giving me the money to fund Project Efiase. So, Mama, where do I get the resources to help them?
So I go back to what I know best, which is crime.
I don't hope so, but that is why all of us must contribute now. If you're watching me, go to EcoBank, Unibank, Royal Bank, and donate towards Project Efiase. Then we can have enough to be able to
do we know where the ex-convicts are when they are released? Do we know where they go to?
We don't know.
So they're just released back into the system.
Perfect. And that is another challenge. So that's where, if we have the resources, we will extend it to them. Like I said, probably build a release camp. Keep them there for a while. And that's what...
Is this part of the plan?
They do. Come on.
Is this part of the plan?
Well, we are now beginning to consider that, as an extension. Currently, our focus is on equipping the skills training centers, expanding infrastructure, giving them skills training. Now, we are now beginning to look at, after their release, give them startup capital, keep them in that release camp for a period, help them with more counseling, so that by the time they are leaving the release camp, you are sure that you've been able to reach their family. Their families are prepared to accept them, letting the families know that if Kwame Nkrumah could go to prison and become president, who knows whether this family member of yours, given the right support, and I'm sure Nkrumah's family embraced him. Society embraced him when he came out. That's why he could rise to become a president. So why not?
Project Efiase has been a talking point for a while now. What have you been able to achieve with Project Efiase?
Perfect. We've organized 2 capacity building training sessions for the top notch of the prison officers because our training school has grounded to a halt. And a lot of them have been there for 30 years, no refresher course. They are modern traits of prisoner management. So the Council to Project Efiase has done that. Number 2, we've distributed about 20 computers. So far, the material donations that have come in, we've been able to distribute them. The other day, we distributed about 5 containers of tuna flakes, which were donated to Project Efiase.
Who's using the computers?
Come again?
Who's using the computers?
The prisons. facilities.
So you're talking about the officers of the prisons?
Well, the prison service, not the officers. It's the prison service.
The prison service.
Yes,
but we're not talking about the prisoners.
Well, they are using it to improve their welfare and to facilitate our mandate of reforming them. And I can show Ghanaians, look, our eyes are on the ground. And I'm going to hold a press conference in July. The festival will turn 1. We're going to publish audited accounts to all Ghanaians and let Ghanaians know what we have done with the monies and the material donations that they've sent to us.
Any idea how much you've been able to raise so far?
So far, I'm sorry, a little less than 200,000 Ghana cedis. That's what has been raised. But I don't blame Ghanaians. The telecos, I'm still appealing to them. I paid a courtesy call on the CEO of MTN, and they are on the verge of helping us activate the SMS short code. The others, it's been very, very difficult. I don't know why. We've been there many times, and I don't know what is happening.
Should you be looking at perhaps finally changing strategies of raising funds, for instance?
Well, changing strategy, well, we may have to look at, well, we don't have to change it. If we can get the telecos to activate the SMS short code for us, and maybe if we can continue to do these courtesy calls, I believe that it is workable. We are facing some challenge, public service, some people don't like reforms because the reforms we are pushing, it's affecting some people. Some people benefit. You won't believe it, Mama B. Some officers benefit from this situation now. And so as we are pushing this, some are not excited. And some are resorting to all kinds of finding means to try to derail the process.
So you have a challenge even within the service itself.
Some officers, like I said, who benefit from the corruption that goes on in the system, who benefit from all kinds of things that goes on, are not too excited.
What's the plan, to deal with such persons?
Well, for now, they are faceless people who are trying to drop anonymous letters and create problems. You understand? But we are on the ground. We are not perturbed. I want to use this medium to tell them we are not perturbed. I mean, trying to create all kinds of funny stories, lies, to put in the public domain to create disaffection. And I keep telling them that I think in a local parlance, the good things that by rubbing its body on the wall, it is hurting the owner. But you officers, you benefit if this thing goes through. So don't think of your parochial interests. Let's look at the larger interests of the prisoner and everybody.
But if you have a battle, an unfinished business inside, how do you begin to tackle the outside?
Well, it's only a few people. We know them who are doing this. And they'll go to, and it's expected. In the public service, they'll always resist
So why
change.
don't you just fire them?
Well, Ghanaians, if you do that immediately, human rights issue and all that, we are monitoring. And if it gets to a point, if we're able to get enough evidence and track them, then we will deal with them appropriately.
All right, Reverend, we have to leave our conversation here.
Thank
we
you,
wish you
Mama
the
B,
best.
so much for this platform.
But perhaps just before you go, how do people who are interested in giving out some monies, how can they do it?
Thank you. Please walk to the prison's headquarters, ask of the council secretariat, and please direct the donation to Progressive Fiancé. That will give the council that leverage to be able to commit it to expand infrastructure and all that. Or go to EcoBank, go to Unibank, go to Royal Bank, Prison Reform Trust, and you can donate any amount. And watch out for the SMS short code. Very soon we'll be announcing that so you can send in the comfort of your home, wherever you are.
Reverend Steve Wengam chairs the Prisons Council. I'm grateful for your time.
Grateful.